darling.
There you go.
I didn't want the mic yet. I was having technical difficulties. I was told to have this printed out, but I was trying to be modern. So good evening, lassies and lads. It is an honor and privilege to reply on the behalf of the Lassies to Preston's toast. Wow, I must say that was quite the entertaining toast it was. But for anybody that knows me, yes, my name is Amberly/Always Right. And for those that do know me, I do have my speech written down because I'm not going to let me say things that I'm not supposed to say. So my reply, I didn't realize it was supposed to be called a revenge. So in my head I was titling it The Reply to the Common Man. So in my own research, I really struggled with the fact that this reply, while illustrating the vices and lack of morality of the lesser sex, or unfairer sex, I have to end it on a complimentary note. Well, like, you know, we have the Highland blood in us, and so the rebellious ways are also in my blood. So I just don't think I can end it on a complimentary note, so I would like to start with it. But I'm going to take some of Preston's advice and raise a dram first and say, let's give it a go. Dang, you made this tough. They liked you. So like Preston shared, Robert Burns represented the aspirations of the common man. So I started to think back to when I was growing up. And of course, I looked to my dad. I thought of my dad as part John Wayne and part Spock. I was also a big fan of my grandma, who liked to watch the men in kilts and playing the bagpipes. I also remember watching a television with Grandma about Scotch porridge oats. I don't know if any of you remember this, but it showed the two tall, strapping men in kilts and string vests tossing the caper about after having consumed a good breakfast of Scottish porridge oats. So this was my view growing up of the common man. I'm sure some of you lassies can agree that was a really struggle to find a lad to fit that. Found one. Compliment number one. So even 259 years after his birth, Robert Burns is a fine example of what we lassies look for in a man. Many of his characteristics and habits are shared with all of these fine specimens here with us tonight. That's my compliment! I thought it was better than that. A lass without her laddie is a sorry sight to see, like a haggis without the oatmeal, or a golf ball without a tee, or a kilt without a tartan, or which doesn't show the knee. Without a laddie by her side, the nights are long and cold. We know this for a fact because by Burns we have been told. For all that and all that, he says a man's the gold. If a lassie wants a laddie, she need not search the world o'er, but just turn her eye to Scotland and find what she's looking for. For the bonny flower of Scotland is one that never wilts, and makes a lassie say with pride, down with trousers, up with kilts. But like any good lass, I do like to talk. And right now, like I just mentioned kilts, I want to talk about that Scotsman's sense of style. There is a theory that our ancestors painted themselves indigo and wore kilts looking more like taddy bags so that their wives could not see what they were up to in the heather with the woman next door. Nowadays, Scotland lovers and Scottish descendants seem to carry about with a tartan obsession. If the chief purpose of an original kilt truly was camouflage, I'm sorry, men, but dressed in your current tartans, the only way you could hide would be if you fought your battles on a parcheesi board. Now take in mind, I'm not complaining because I too can dress in the tartan of my family that best fits my personalities and moods. Now, do we agree, lassies, with the statement that a kilt is an aphrodisiac?
Yeah.
There should be more clapping for that. I once heard someone say that a man could hawk himself about in tight jeans or an Italian suit and there's nothing doing. But should he, and I quote, hat his hurdies with the passion pleats, it doesn't seem to matter what kind of woman you are, you just go shoogly in the legs and submit. A social anthropologist who was asked why the kilt should be the world's greatest knee trembler just laughed and said, accessibility. You questioned that word. But ladies, do take care. I do believe that the answer to what a Scotsman wears under his kilt is best left to the imagination. So enough about their dress. I do believe that Scotsmen have acquired a few social graces over the past 100 years. They don't belch in the faces of the women they're hitched to. And some of them, so I'm told, even take their socks off before climbing in between the sheets. Now I'm giving some of the credit for that to Robert Burns. He did not tolerate fools easily. In his epigram addressed to the gentleman at table who kept boasting of the company he kept, he wrote, "What of lords with whom you've supped, and dukes that you dined with yestreen? A louse, sir, is still but a louse, though it crawl on the locks of a queen." Robert Burns united music, realism, comedy, and humanity in a manner seldom seen. I consider him a true champion of the common man. But would he have still been the champion of a common man when our common man today looks a little bit like Tim the Toolman Taylor? Tim the Toolman Taylor, our common man, is a bloke, father of the family, a know-it-all, believes he has an incredible wide knowledge of tools and electronics and general mechanics. But in reality, he's just overly confident, often forgets crucial steps, ignores instructions, make ill-advised modifications, coming to inaccurate conclusions. All of this sounds familiar to you lassies, right?
Wow.
All right. But I'm sure a few of us lassies, very few, could resist a man who would write such beautiful romantic lines as, "Till all the seas gang dry, my dear, and the rocks melt with the sun. Oh, I will love thee still, my dear, while the sands of life shall run." It's sweet, right? But I also found Burns was the original bard of the comic pickup line. This was a fun discovery, so I took a couple shares of 18th century versions. The first one I have is to Miss Davies. I'm being asked why she had been formed so little, and Mrs. A so big. I don't know who Mrs. A is, but she's bigger than me. Ask why God made the gem so small and why so huge the granite. Because God meant mankind should set the higher value on it. All right, let's try this one. The one to Miss Ainsley, who was looking up text during a sermon. Fair maid, you need not take the hint, nor idle text pursuer. 'Twas guilty sinners meant, not angels such as you.
Nice.
Okay, this isn't revenge, but it's a reply. Preston mentioned my occupational standing, and as Robbie Burns was a great believer in the rights of women, and held us rightly so as intellectual and social equals. Thank you. I have a joke too, and I'm sorry. Pretty much, we all sit in front of a computer all day long, whether it's for work or play. But have you ever considered what sex the humble computer is? I say it's masculine. I'm going to tell you why. In order to get their attention, you have to turn them on. They have a lot of data but remain clueless. Their hard drives are sometimes floppy. They're supposed to help you solve problems, but half the time they are the problem. And this is in a direct reply to owning more than one. As soon as you commit to one, you realize if you had waited a little bit longer, you could have a better one. Oh, I found so much more, but my time is way too short for it all. So despite all their vices, their immorality, and all the troubles they may heap upon us, we continue to love them, our lads. We love them for all the little things a man can be loved for. Now, I'm going to speak to the lads for a second, because you are going to want to pay attention to this part. But lassies, let's be upstanding, raise your glass, and for those of us that are still looking for Mr. Right, still trying to fix our Mr. Right, or just holding tight to the Mr. Right you chose, wish with me that may all our laddies swing a sword like Jamie Fraser, ride a steel horse like Ewan McGregor, look as dashingly handsome as Sean Connery, whisper the words, my love is like a red, red rose, in our ears like Robbie Burns, my personal favorite. And last but so not least, the many occasions he may make our heart flutter like Gerard Butler.